Discrimination can take many forms. It can be outright and or there are subtle discriminations which are the hardest to handle. As the subtle discriminations are often harder to prove. In this speech, I am going to discuss several ways that a person with a hearing impairment is discriminated against. Whether it is lower wages or just plain bullying, it's still discrimination no matter the circumstance. Imagine being hearing impaired and facing discrimination at work because you can't hear. In my research, I found some of this discrimination has improved in recent years due to technological options. However, there are still situations that discrimination happens against the deaf workforce. According to the article, Reconsidering Sound and the City Asserting the Right of the Hearing Impaired Friendly City by Gil Harold, February 2013. A perception of social relations in which hearing and speech are taken for granted, and that the larger social world, to a degree, is a hearing world, and hearing impaired people are outsiders within it. According to the same article by Gil Harold, the term autism was coined by Tom Humphreys in 1975 and refers to an active intolerance of non-hearing ways of being. Autism is described as discriminating against individuals based on hearing ability and identifies 3 facts of autism. The notion that one is superior based on one's ability to hear or behave in a manner of one who hears, a system of advantages based on hearing ability, a metaphysical orientation that links human identity with speech. Deaf people experience being discriminated against or encounter prejudice by people who are referred to as autists. In the hearing impaired culture, calling someone an autist would be the same as calling someone a racist. Autists believe hearing impaired people must conform and adapt English, lip reading, speech, and other hearing ways of communication at the exclusion of embracing the natural language of the hearing impaired, such as American Sign Language. For many of us, work, whether paid or voluntary, takes up a significant part of our lives. There appears to be a certain amount of discrimination by employees against employing people with a hearing loss or any other disability. The employment rate for disabled people is less than half of the non-disabled people. Wages are 20% lower for disabled men and 12% lower for women, reported in 2011 by Mallory Baldwin in Estimates of Weight Discrimination Against Workers with Sensory Disabilities. Employers often believe that someone who cannot hear properly and who cannot use a phone would not be a good employee or an asset to any company. This is particularly hard for the late hearing impaired adult. They might find they lose their job because they can no longer perform in the same way they had before. There's also a bullying tactic that can affect the employees with hearing disabilities. Some people report that they are treated as dumb and given the lowest tasks, often below their abilities, experience, skills, or education. Often, employees who are hearing impaired are overlooked for promotions just because management is culturally unaware or they don't want to accommodate the disabled employee. They may fear that advancing hearing impaired workers will be challenging for hearing subordinates or that the company will incur too many additional expenses due to following ADA guidelines. The Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA, is in place to ensure that employers are adhering to the rules concerning employees with disabilities, such as the hearing impaired. The ADA requires reasonable accommodations from employers to ensure equal opportunity in the application process, to ensure an employee to perform an essential function of a job, and to allow an employee to enjoy equal benefits and privileges of employment. While employers may adhere to the ADA guidelines, workplace harassment can still occur. Rude or uncivilized behavior towards a hearing impaired employee does not legally qualify as workplace harassment. What does qualify is negative behavior that is severe and pervasive to the point of creating a hostile or abusive environment. One resource that the harassed employees have to reach out to is the EEOC, or Equal Employment Opportunity Commission. Gina Shaw's 2012 report, Fighting Workplace Discrimination Against the Hearing Impaired, stated that efforts to thwart discrimination against the hearing impaired individuals in the workplace have been successful by winning several cases where this harassment occurred. Mrs. Shaw states that workers with hearing impairments and their employers struggle daily to find solutions so that hearing impairment does not interfere with work performance. But with some research, employers will find there are solutions where they're to assist with the hearing impaired employees. The solutions can include the internet. These days, phone work can be done via the internet, and it provides a written record of what has been done. Video phones are also entering the market and allow hearing impaired people to use a phone and lip read. For those employers with the equipment, Skype could be an excellent way to establish communication. In the report, Fighting Against Workplace Discrimination Against Hearing Impaired, Mrs. Shaw states that an increasing number of gadgets and devices can be used to help the hearing impaired communicate, such as hearing aid compatible headphones and personal assistive listening devices. Employment and workplace discrimination is a multifaceted problem that requires cooperation at all levels. The foundation for a positive and productive multicultural workplace begins with recognizing diversity as an asset. Training for all employees, from the top executives to support staff, which can help foster a deeper understanding of the value everyone brings to an organization. By welcoming people who are hearing impaired into workplaces and setting them up with the tools they need to succeed, the entire organization can realize the benefits of diversity. Hearing impaired employees bring a unique perspective and new ideas to the workplace when they feel comfortable, supported, and included as part of the team. They can focus on contributing to the overall success of the company.